Take it away, damn group.
Okay, this is Mark Mahaly. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, Mark.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking time for this. So the Curtis Pond Dam Exploratory Group formed in July of last year, and we gave you a first kind of quick overview in February. Colleen Bloom is our convener, and she's attending along with Marge Sweeney, who's our brilliant finance expert, and has done with really great help. I mean, not that he's a supporter or anything, but he's been very helpful. John McCullough has helped us with our projections. We kind of overlap with the Curtis Pond Association, which is a voluntary association, but we're not the same thing. We're owners of land on the pond and near the pond, within walking distance, who are really concerned about the dam and the future of the pond. We've spent these months, almost 11 months now, investigating title issues, insurance, finance runs. We've talked to the general counsel and met with the general counsel of the Agency of Natural Resources and the dam safety people and lakes and streams people, et cetera. And can you, Denise, could I ask you to put up the PowerPoint that we provided? It's just a very few. Yeah, that you can start there. We really, I'll just summarize quickly before we get into it. The dam is fragile. It could go anytime. It could be overtapped. If it does, the lake will disappear. Doing nothing would cost the town more in lost taxes than it would cost to fix the dam. And we're going to ask if you might consider going forward to join us in some way, either through appointment of a joint committee or appointing a liaison, so that as we move forward and talk to various state officials and start looking at this more carefully, the town is involved. And also as we educate the citizenry of the town through meetings, it's some sort of a joint effort. But in some, we're really ready to do the work and help you in any way we can. Could you look at, the first one there, Denise, this one, yeah. So the dam, it's old. It's over 100 years old. It was rated poor by the state. Climate change increases the risk because what would really destroy the dam, as you can see in the picture, I don't know, Denise, can you make it full screen or is that it?
Let me see.
I don't know. Yeah, that's good.
Is that better?
Yeah, it leaks like crazy. But in addition, the big risk is if we had another Irene, the dam would be overtopped and probably disappear. And if that happens, we really don't know if the state would allow us to rebuild. And that's not just caution. There are ANR, the Agency of Natural Resources, divided on that issue. The wetland people would rather see if it's returned to its natural state. I just think it'd be very difficult. We wouldn't necessarily at all be allowed to rebuild. And without the dam, there's no pond, so we'd lose the town beach and the island and the state access. I think people from out of state would stop coming there and the community store would die from lack of business. So can we go to slide 2, the next slide here? This is really interesting, and I'm going to let Marge take this over. Marge has done an enormous amount of work looking at the grand list, working with John McCullough, and basically there's $3 million minimum. I think that's a very low number. It's probably double that the town would lose in assessed value if the dam went. Marge, are you able to take this up?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So just a quick overview of what you're seeing, and then I'll give you a quick idea of how I came to these numbers. So it's a bar graph with what we've got are 7 different scenarios of funding options, and there's a bar for each, like for townwide, what do we cost for townwide? That's the green. The, the blue is the shoreline, and the yellow is people within walking distance. And what and so if this is all based on how much the property taxes would increase per $100,000 of real value. And I did this particular bar graph using a 500, $500,000 town bond at 3% annual payment, which would end up with costing $33,300 per year. Now, so the first one is a little different because what that shows is if the dam breaks or is removed, we're estimating a loss of over $3 million from the grand list, which accounts to everyone in the town who would pay $42 more in taxes to cover that loss of income per 100,000 real value. So whatever, if you're 200, then it would be $84 a year that your taxes would increase. And we projected out that over the next 20 years, if the town broke and we lost that grand list value, that the town would lose 2.3 million in tax revenue. Now, for each one of the scenarios I show how much each group with their taxes would increase. So on the last set of bars, if the town paid 80% of the cost and the people within walking distance paid 5% and the shoreline 15%, the town-wide would be $13 per 100,000. The shoreline people would be $53 per 100,000, and the walking folks would pay $33 per 100,000. Now, where did I come up with these numbers? Everything pretty much is based on the town's grand list, which I used the online web page to gather the numbers. I then, using, for the projections, I had 30 years worth of what the property taxes, the rates were for the last 30 years. I had my own copies of my bills from the last 30 years. And I used the last 30 years to project out what the next 20 years would cost using a formula, a net present value formula. And I picked, and I have all the supporting documents. I didn't, there's spreadsheets for the current tax rates for those on the shoreline, those on the walking distance, and the town overall. And I have all the supporting documents for these numbers out on, the Curtis Pond Association has a website, and there's an exploratory webpage, and I have all the spreadsheets that I use to calculate all this. And I can, if anybody has questions, I'm not going to go into it today, but I can spend a lot of time with someone if they want to see how I came up with the number. But after getting all these numbers, I sat down with John McCulloch and asked him I wanted him to kind of verify my methodology and the reasonableness of what I had done. And he sat down and was very helpful with that. I also, I lost my train of thought here. We picked 500,000 as a starting number to put on these screens. But I have worked out 31, I've got another paper that has 31 different funding scenarios. These are just a sample. We have 31. Now that I have the methodology, I can do any kind of scenario that people would like to see. And the thing is that we are not trying at this point to recommend any of these scenarios. They're just samples. And because it's a town decision on whether to go forward or not to go forward and which one we will choose. So do you want me
Are you ready? Are you ready for the, are you ready for the next
sure.
slide?
Yeah, I know we got to move along here, but I just want to add that I want to emphasize Marge has done many runs. We've looked at them. This is just a sort of beginning the process for you. I do think, just I'm going to add my personal opinion. I think that losing $3 million in assessed value is highly conservative. It assumes that we only lose 25% of the property value of the shoreline out properties and no loss in value of those adjacent to the shoreline. And I just think that's very low. It's probably, in my view, well in excess of $5 million lost. And to make up the lost assessed value would, I think, be well more than $42 per 100,000. But this really is a good time to fix the dam because interest rates are low and we've heard nothing but support from the key state agencies. And we're just worried, frankly. All it's going to take is a really big storm to do this. We really can't get this done. At a certain point, I mean, we really want to help the town. We'll participate. We'll do the bulk of the work. We'll do anything we can to help you. We are willing to fundraise and raise a minimum of $100,000 in grants or donations towards the dam's repair. And as Marge said, we're not wedded to any particular formula at this point, but it's clear that we really feel that when we're talking to state officials, et cetera, right now, it would be really great if the select board could appoint someone who would be there with us so that everybody's hearing the same thing, so that we're not just some group of citizens out there completely on our own. And during the summer, you know, the association has held informational sessions in the past and had really good attendance in the summer. And so we were thinking this summer, it would really be good to begin an education program, not just for the landowners around the pond, but also for the citizenry, you know, for people in general in the town. And to advertise those sessions and have them in a convenient place and have them sponsored just as information sessions to talk, have them sponsored by the town and by us. And so we really think it's time to sort of begin to work together. And we don't have any particular idea as to how to work together, whether you want to form a joint committee or whether you want to appoint a liaison to our committee. However you want to do it is fine with us.
Okay,
but we think now's the time, and stand ready to answer any questions, and would ask that you join with us in further exploration of this issue.
So let me ask the select board,